one of our 5-day series. So, all week this week, I'm going to talk about the 5 things you need to let go of right now in order to enjoy your life, okay? Because there are certain things that we all hold on to, that we all have inside of us that we use to block receiving, from being open to wanting certain things to being open to enjoying our lives. There's just certain things that if we let go of them, it's going to free up so much space within us. We're not going to feel so weighted down. We're actually going to physically feel lighter, mentally feel lighter. You're going to love where you're at, okay? So if you're out there and you're joining me, give me a shout. Let me know you're out there. Let me know where you're joining me from. Let me know what you got going on. I know tonight is Monday. It is Labor Day. So if you're having a great celebration kind of a day, that's amazing. If you're out joining me, I'm super happy to have you. But like I said, tonight is night 1 of our 5-day series of things to let go of now. And tonight we are focusing on fear of failure. This is something that everybody needs to let go of right now. So if this is something that bothers you, this is something that comes up in your life, this idea of fear of failure, don't worry, you're not alone. I actually found out a couple weeks ago that this is something that's been deep-seated in me, and I didn't know it. I thought I had other blocks. I thought I had other things going on, and apparently fear of failure is one of my biggest things. So yes, this is something that I need to let go of too. So if this is on your list, this is something that bothers you, that comes up for you, that continues to show up in your life, let me know. Drop it in the comments. Give me like a big hells yeah. Send me an emoji. Do something to show me that yes, this is on your list too. So fear of failure can mean many things. It can have a very literal sense where it's like you're legit afraid to do anything. So you get anxious, you get worried, you get overwhelmed, you get into that fight or flight mode anytime you're going to make a decision because you're worried about failing. You're worried about screwing it up, and you're worried about something not working. And we've all been there, but it's how far do you take it? How much do you let it bother you? Okay, think about it that way. So for me, I guess fear of failure for me, I found out stems from way back, like childhood-wise. I thought it was the superficial stuff, like the societal standards where, I didn't finish college, I didn't get married, I haven't had kids, I'm 31 years old, there's all these things that I'm supposed to have done, but guess what? I failed at life. Well, that is like the superficial level of fear of failure, okay? So fear of failure, and again, it can mean whatever it means to you. So I'll give you my personal experiences, and then we'll talk about the ways to begin letting this go. So a couple weeks ago, I did an RTT session. That is Rapid Transformation Therapy. I did that with Katya. I'll drop her link in here if that's something you're interested in. And I went in there thinking I had money blocks. I was like, why can't I make my business more successful? Why can't I go on vacation? Why can't I do these things? I must be something that's blocking me from receiving money, right? Because that was where my head was at. I assumed that's what it was. Well, guess what? It stemmed from fear of failure, that I don't want to let myself have the good things and do the good things because I'm worried I'm going to screw it up. I'm worried I'm going to fail. I'm worried I'm not going to come out on top. I mean, how crazy is that, right? So we went back in time, and one of the first things that popped up with our scenes when it came to fear of failure was my relationship with my mother. Now, for those of you that know me, that know my mother, that have known me forever, it's cool. Like I said, I don't hate her, but that is a relationship that has failed. I don't speak with her, and that is my choice. I don't have a lot of communication with her, and again, my choice. And before those of you want to jump out there and tell me, hey, it's because, hey, I am. But if you want to sit and chill, that's cool. So for me, sorry about that, guys. What I was saying was, so as far as fear of failure goes, blah, I'm going back in there because, like I said, that is something in my life that has failed. So for most people, like I said, before everybody jumps on me and says, you only get one mom and blah, well, then take that off I'm not standing on that soapbox with you. It's not happening. Because yes, I do not have a good relationship with her. And it was mostly because of my anxiety. It was the negativity. It was the mannerisms and the behavior and just the energy sucking that was happening that I could not deal with. In my mind, I was being drained. And I wasn't happy. I didn't like that I would pick up the phone and I'd go to push send a call and I would get anxiety. I didn't want to put my finger on the button. I mean, how insane does that sound, right? So that was something that really came up, and I had to look at that, and I was like, man, I failed at that. And I wondered if that had something to do with my idea that I'm somehow failing at other relationships, other connections, whether it be with a boyfriend, whether it be with friends, whether it be with clients, whether it be with anybody for that matter. I honestly wonder if that was a deep seated fear of failure, that I'm going to fail at relationships. Okay? So that's the first thing that popped up. The second one we went back to was when I quit college. And again, I say I quit school, but I'm honestly wondering, did I fail? Did I not try hard enough? Did I need to pick a different major? Was I not successful enough? Did I not do the right things to make that work? Or was it truly my choice? That it wasn't somewhere I wanted to be. It wasn't somewhere I wanted to grow. It just wasn't teaching me anything, right? So that was the second thing that popped up on my fear of failure list, was college. So again, I tell people I quit school, but I often wonder, what would have happened if I finished? What would have happened if I didn't fail, right? Now, the third fear of failure episode that popped up for me, we're going through the scenes, was the passing of my grandfather. Okay, so this happened 10 years ago, August 29th, 10 years ago, so really recent. My grandfather had committed suicide. Okay, now the day that happened, I was supposed to go over there. I was supposed to hang out with him and do things. Like, I would go over there like every weekend as much as I could. And they asked me to pick up an extra shift at work. And I was like, man, I hadn't told him I was coming. I was just going to surprise him. And, I was like, well, I guess I can pick up the extra shift. My parents were like, yeah, go ahead, do it. He doesn't even know you were coming. It's fine. Like, okay. So I didn't go. Well, that night, I'm at work and I get the phone call about what happened. Now, again, the universe happens. Life works in mysterious ways. But I often wonder if I hadn't... who out there is messaging me? If I hadn't taken the extra shift, if I had gone through with my plan to surprise him and I went over, would it have made a difference? Okay. I mean, I might have walked in on something completely unpleasant, or maybe it would have given him more hope or more drive or another day, you know what I mean? I feel like I failed at that. Like, I was supposed to be there and I put work in front of that, okay? And I'm going to come back to that because that was something that bugged the hell out of me since that happened, okay? And then there was one more that came up, but it's escaping my mind right now. If it comes back, I'll share it with you. But those were the three biggest things that popped up in my RTT session. And there's even more that I'm now looking at. And that was why a couple weeks ago we did our forgiveness workshop and we wrote up the forgiveness list. A lot of this I put on my list. The same list I sat here and I shredded to little pieces. I put this stuff on my list for a reason. Because I was holding on to that fear of failure, that guilt, that shame, that just unbelievable weight on my chest, my shoulders. And it's something, if we don't let go of this idea that we're failing, it will bring us down. Okay, it'll bring us to a point where, again, this is where the anxiety gets overwhelming, the stress, the worry, the overwhelm, you name it. This is when things get out of control. Okay, when we think that we won't be able to be successful at something, and it can be the smallest minute things, especially if you've got anxiety like I do. Before I had a really good handle on it, I mean, it would be the tiniest things, like, well, what if I go to pick up breakfast for everybody, right? So you go pick out the bagels for the office, and they don't have something there that somebody wanted, so you go, well, I'll get this instead because I know they've had this before, they probably like it, and then you go down that rabbit hole. Well, now I didn't do this right. And now my boss is going to be mad at me. And then what if they don't like that? And then they're the only ones that don't eat. And then you have, like, this is the shit that would go through my head, okay? And I know that seems like a really stupid thing to fail at, but that was something. And these are the little things that would come up for me. But then, like I said, with her, I realized what the bigger fears of failure were. And some of them were societal based because we live in this world that puts us into this box, right? And it tells us you are born, you learn, your parents raise you, you go to school, you do well, you do your homework, you play sports, you graduate, you go to college, you pick your major and job right then and there, you graduate school, you get the good job, then you meet your significant other, you date, you get married, you have kids, white picket fence, dog, nice car, and then you work and work and work, you raise your own family, then you retire, and then now you can travel and enjoy yourself, and then you die. Okay? So that's society. Well, guess whose failed at life there, this girl. So if you haven't heard my story before, so 10 years ago, I quit school. I decided I didn't want to go to college anymore. I was teaching dance at the time. I got a job at a grocery store, which I can still see the day that some girl went by with her mom, and her mom was like, this is why you go to college and you do well, so that you don't have to work at a grocery store. Are you serious? Like, I was making more than probably her mother was. Get out of here. So there's that. And then I moved out of my parents' house, okay, because I didn't like their rules. I didn't like how it was going. So now already I've bucked the system, right? Because I quit school. I got a job at a grocery store. I left my parents' house to move out by myself. Okay, it wasn't because I was getting married or seeing someone or all that good stuff. Went through a couple of relationships which didn't end well. That failed. So yeah, so here I am, 27 years old, and didn't get married, didn't have kids. Had to find a new place to live, because that white picket fence house didn't work out so well. And then I get my own apartment. I quit my good career-based job that everybody thought I was going to have and retire with, and it was going to be amazing. Well, guess what? Workaholic over here. I worked nights. I worked weekends. I worked holidays. And yeah, maybe I sound a little selfish, but it was ridiculous. I had no time for me, that I could make time for me, that I wanted to make time for me, because I thought I had to take care of everybody and everything. And this is all, again, stemming from fear of failure, because I didn't want to let anybody down. I was a severe people pleaser. I was like, I'm running out of fingers here. People pleasing was huge. People were energy sucking vampires around me, just sucking the life out of me. That was horrendous. I went down that road. So I quit the job, got out of the relationship with the guy, got my own place, started a new job, stayed there for a couple of years, which was fine. And this is where everything changed, because this is where I started doing the yoga and the meditation, and my life started to revolve around me now for a change. It was no longer people pleasing, working myself to death, not enjoying my life. I went and made my own friends. I had a regular 9 to 5. I had time for me. I was hitting the gym and going to yoga classes and meditation and you name it. It was amazing. And then that's when I decided to move to Florida. Okay, so I had this grand idea that it would be amazing. It would be warm and sunny and the people would feel so good and I'd have more freedom. And I would basically, like, every weekend would be a vacation because it's Florida. And I did it. I up and moved. I packed all my stuff and sold all my stuff and put it all in the car. And my dad drove me down and found a place to live. The job's still working out well. As I'm working to build my yoga empire to help more women as much as humanly possible. So all of these things, right? Okay. So am I a failure? No. I have done so much. But that's the reframe. Now, if you had asked me this a couple of years ago, I would have told you I was awful. That my life was horrible, that I totally failed. Like I said, I failed at school. I didn't finish college. I quit my job. My relationship failed because I was an anxiety psycho bitch. Although, yeah, he had his own faults and there's stuff there I couldn't control. But yeah, I wasn't making him happy or doing the right things. So I can look at all those things as failures, right? I can go down that road and say that my life has been a failure. Or you can start to reframe. Okay? Yes, I quit college, but because I was going for something that I didn't want to do at the end there. Okay? I decided, and thank God that I didn't get myself in a career that it was going to be stuck with forever, that I was going to hate, right? So boom. One thing that was a failure, not so much, right? I got a job at a grocery store. Yeah, it paid my bills. I learned a lot of leadership skills. I was able to afford things that most people my age didn't. It was an excellent job. I met a lot of great people. I was able to network. So again, not a failure. All positives, right? There's the reframe. I had my own apartment when I was 21. We had the house, and then I got my next apartment. But again, not a failure, right? Because I learned how to budget. I learned how to run a household. I learned how to do things that most people don't do at my age. Okay? Because you're still living with your parents, and you're still going to school. And you're still doing this stuff, so not a failure. I started my own business 3 years ago. 3 years, no. God, I'm counting too far. I started my yoga journey 3 years ago. I started my own business 2 years ago now. But do I see that as a failure because I haven't successfully quit my 9 to 5 yet and I'm not making, 6 figures a year? No, I mean, God, I have managed to move to Florida. I've got an amazing following. I have you guys that are amazing people with engagement, people taking my classes. They want to do them. people in my membership site, my one-on-one clients, like I'm helping people. So yeah, not a failure. But again, if you'd asked me to do that before, I never would have been able to reframe this stuff. And that is what I love to do now. So if you are experiencing any kind of fear of failure, I'm gonna tell you what, pick something that seems that way and message it to me, okay? Message it, email it. If you're brave, drop it in the comments and I'll give you a reframe, okay? So this is your chance for like a little personal coaching, just one-on-one me and you, right? I'll reframe it for you. Because that's the first step in letting go of fear of failure, is if you can reframe. Because once you do that, you have the opportunity to rewrite your story, because that is what you're living, guys. It is your story. So if you're telling one story, this is what you're attracting into your life. This is the energy that's happening. So if you're constantly telling yourself that you failed, you didn't complete things the way you should have, or on time, or with whomever, that is your story. But that energy, that vibe, those feels that you're putting out there, notice how negative they seem. Notice how draining they seem. Notice how dark they seem. Does any of that sound like the ideal life that you want to be attracting more of that to you? Oh, hell no. Nobody wants that. So when you can reframe, when you can take all of those things that fall under fear of failure and make them look like successes, you're now telling yourself a new story. So you're now feeling a new vibration, you're feeling a new energy, you're feeling a new feels. That is where the change happens. And it's not easy to do on your own. And that is what I'm here for. So if there's something that feels like it's always a constant in your life that's showing up as some kind of a failure, let's rewrite your story. Let's change your vibration so that now you can attract more things to fail at, okay? Oh, there we go. Okay, sorry guys. I think I just lost you there. It was like pausing out of me. No pun intended, because I'm at pause. So yes, so that is my spiel on fear of failure. So like I said, now when it comes down to the tools and tips and personal strategies that I've used, like I said, I went through my RTT session. I took those exact scenes. The first thing I did that you guys were a part of, I think it was 2 weeks ago, was, like I said, the forgiveness list. That's the first big one. Jackie says her love life. Okay, we will talk about that in just a second. So yeah, as far as your love life being a failure, it's not a failure. Everybody comes into our lives for a reason, okay? Everybody comes into our lives when they're supposed to. And they're supposed to cross our paths no matter how good or bad it may be. They're supposed to be there. So they're either going to teach you something, yes, it's going to be amazing, or you're going to learn something, and that's okay too. So your love life, knowing Jackie personally, is not a failure. You've been given experiences. You've learned the things that you don't want in a relationship. You've learned the things that you don't need to deal with, that you don't deserve. You've learned where your self-worth is and your self-love and your self-respect. And now it's time to use that to attract the person that you do want to be successful with, right? Because if you keep putting out that same vibe, if you keep standing for the same thing, if you keep letting the same relationship experience happen, even though it's a different person, it's the same shit that keeps happening, that's the energy that you're attracting. So when you can reframe that and say, well, I don't want this, I like that, and this and this and this, you start putting those feels out and how good it feels to have the good things that feel good, you know, and that you don't want this stuff, and you just focus on what you do want, then that's going to come back to you. I promise. Like, that is the way that works. And that is something I'm really focusing on right now, is the feels when it comes to all of this stuff, okay? So yeah, I highly recommend sticking with the feels. And that's the first big one. So if you've got a journal, you've got your desktop, your laptop, if you're a techie person, I really want you to just start by asking yourself, what do you want? So when you think of what you failed with in life, and I say failed lightly, but when you think of what you failed in life, what felt good? Where was it not a failure? So let's reframe it. I mean, make a list of everything that you feel like is a failure, that you failed at. So like I said, I would put all the things I talked about. College, work, my grandfather, you name it, these things would be on my list. And then what you do is you're going to write those down on one side of a piece of paper. And then on the other side, you're going to put a big line down the middle. On the other side, now we're going to reframe them, and we're going to see why it was not a failure. And again, if you're struggling to do this on your own, take a picture, send me a screenshot, literally send me the list, and I'll help you reframe it. Even if I don't know you, I can help you reframe, okay? So again, the first thing we need to do, think of it like a pros cons list kind of a thing. write down all the stuff you think you're a failure, put a big line down the middle, and then we're gonna reframe. Okay, if you can reframe on your own, fabulous. If you need help, please let me know. Okay, I can't make that any more clear than I am. I will help you. So there's step number 1. And then step number 2, all of those things that you had on your fear of failure, all the things that you believe that you're a failure at, I want you to create a forgiveness list. I want you to start letting that energy up and out. Okay, so you're gonna write down, I forgive myself for failing at, I forgive myself for failing at, I forgive myself for failing at. Make yourself a forgiveness list. Again, let it all up and out. And when you think you finished your list, I literally want you to sit back and say to yourself, what else? Okay? And then put that on there and just keep going till you literally can't think of anything else. And then when you're finally at that point, I want you to take that list out of your notebook. This is why I prefer paper, because this is way more fun than just hitting a delete key. And I want you to, a couple of options. The one I really like is tear that shit to shreds, okay? Like you were here with me on the forgiveness night. Tear it to shreds. Rip it apart, rip it into little pieces, and just funfetti. And we're going to celebrate why it's not a fear of failure. We're going to celebrate that we're forgiving ourselves for all of the failures, and we're going to have a party. It's going to be fun. Like, I would love to see, like, if you ever took a video when you've done it and totally just do it and shred it and throw it up in the air like confetti, I totally want to see it. I'm going to feel bad for the cleanup that you've got after, but send me the video because I will plaster that everywhere. I think it's fabulous. Or yes, you can go down the road of put it in like a metal bowl or watch your fingers and just burn it without burning your place down, you know? Do it outside. Because sometimes that is really satisfying, just to watch it shrivel away in the darkness and the smoke comes up, and that's a nice feeling too. So that's your forgiveness list. So first you have your reframing, so your pros and cons. And again, I can help with that. Then you have your forgiveness list and the destroying part. And if you want me to be a part of that, totally message me. I'll video chat with you. I will watch you tear that shit up and I will celebrate with you. So that's step number 2. And then the next thing is going forward. Okay, and this is the hard part because this is where, as human beings, we have those fears ingrained on our brain. Like literally, it's like they're etched and welded and just scarred into your brain. And it's not easy to make them disappear because that's where our energies, our manifestations, our wants and things that are coming to us come from. Because when we have an experience, so when you experience some kind of fear of failure and you put that in your brain, all of those feelings are what stays with you. So then the next time when you have a similar experience or you're standing in the place that it happened, or maybe you smell something or somebody walks by, that's what triggers the memory that's back in there. That's what triggers the fear of failure, the episode that happened. And that's when you see that scene creep up, kind of like a bad movie. And that's the only chance in that split second that it starts to happen that you have to reframe it. I'm not gonna tell you to block it and not think of it, but let it come up and then look at it as like, I am so glad that happened because now I've got this. Or I am so glad that happened because now I met this person. Or I am so glad that happened because now I've created space so that I don't have that anymore. Or I don't stand for that anymore. Start to take that split second and reframe it, okay? And the more you write down that stuff, the more you forgive yourself, and the more you immediately work on the reframing, the quicker those energies, that vibration, that negativeness goes away. And you're not going to fear failure anymore, okay? And it still happens. Like, don't get me wrong, I still have my days where I look at things and I'm like, oh man, I've tried everything and it's not working. Or what if I do this and it doesn't work? Or what if I say this and then it doesn't happen? Like, this is the stuff that does go through my mind. But again, it's when you catch yourself, that's when you write it down, that's when you start putting it out there that it changes, okay? And again, it's not easy, but it can be done, okay? So I highly, highly recommend, that's the next step. It's start catching yourself. It's start being aware, being conscious of the world around you. That's what's going to get you to start releasing that fear of failure. And again, it'll never go completely away. We'll never lose it ever. But when you can start to accept it and then start to control it and then start to create this kind of a lifestyle, that is where the change happens. And like I said, this is the stuff that I like to do. So if you create your list, like I said, share it with me. I am more than happy to help you reframe if you need it. If you want to celebrate your forgiveness list, I am down. And then if you find yourself getting stuck in your daily life, this is where the magic happens. And this is why I do what I do. So if you are finding yourself that you have a constant state of fear of failure, that you're really working on this and it's still not working for you, join me. I've got a couple of great ways that I can help you. So the first thing I will say, for my ladies out there, I have a free Facebook group. It is called Vibrant, Carefree, and Fabulous Females. You can join that for even more support and videos and trainings and daily inspirations. It's a community of like-minded women that are going through exactly what you are, exactly what I went through. It's going through exactly what you need to level up on that end, okay? So I highly recommend joining that, okay? So that's the first thing. The second thing is I have a great way to work with me every month. And this is where, again, you're going to level up because it's not just free trainings. It's not just that kind of group work. It is my monthly membership that is called the Mindful Movement Tribe. And inside of there is when you get a chance to hang out with me, okay? So, sorry about that, guys. We do the weekly yoga and meditation classes for your mindset support. We have the weekly journaling prompts that you receive. We have the daily Voxer support where everybody's in a group chat. So especially as women, it's really fun for us to get in there. And like I said, you chat with the others and you'll get the direct support from me, but you're also going to get it from them as well. So it's very, very, very cool. So that is another great way. And we hold the group coaching call once a month where just like this, you get to see me though. And we get to hang out and we all get to talk together and talk about our goals and the things coming up and where we need the help. And then the biggest way to work with me, and this is something that if you're on this level and you're going to really stretch yourself and you want to start working on a very deep level, is my new one-on-one program. And this is again, here's fear of failure popping up, right? I was so afraid to launch this, okay? Because I had my group program from when I first started the business, right? And the first thing that happened was I set it up. It was a 1-month program, and then I had the 3-month version, and I really, was like, oh, I'm going to help you, and we're going to do this, and set up your 30-day plan, and all this stuff. But it was kind of vague, and my heart wasn't in it. It was mostly in my membership tribe. And then I sat there, and I was like, but how much more good could I do if I could get people one-on-one, if I could really talk to them like I'm talking to you now, get on that personal, deep level, and really explore the different sides of anxiety and stress and overwhelm, making you understand that you are not alone. That, like I said, I've been there, I'm still there on some days. It's getting there and learning the tools and the strategies and the tips and tricks to really be able to take the next step. So I revamped the whole thing. I threw my 1 month out, I threw my 3 month out, I got rid of it all because I was like, you know what, I don't want to do this. No matter how much people are like, you need to have this, you need to have that, well, here comes fear of failure. If I fail, then I fail. But I don't think I will, because I have now set this up in a way that would have helped me back then. And if you're where I was and you want to change, this is exactly what you need, because like I said, this is going to be everything, the tools and tips and strategies, my life experiences, everything that has happened and that works, and then we could take it and personalize it for you. Because yoga isn't just yoga. Meditation isn't just meditation. Mindset work is not just mindset work. In a big umbrella, it's there, but what happens is it's meant to cover you from the rain, okay? It's a personal umbrella for you that you can now change to adapt to what you need to help you. And then that's where I come in, because I do the adapting for you. I do the reframing for you. I give you the exact tips and tools and strategies that you need to make that work. So it's a 6-week program, and we focus on the 6 basics to self-care. So it's the personal. So we'll go through exactly what your goals are. We'll talk about your fears of failure. We'll do a little human design work. I'll give you access to my vision boarding workshop. So that's all in week 1. And again, this stuff isn't necessarily set in stone, but this is, like I said, the kind of the map I'm looking at. And then week 2, actually, I'm going to pull it up because I don't want to screw this up. This is really important to me. Here it is. Okay. So week 2, Instagram, we're going to slide you that way, is the emotional side. So after we review kind of week 1 and the daily goals and where you're at, we're going to work on setting the accountability. And this is the cool part, because you get 6 45-minute sessions with me. So once a week. So there's no spreading it out across 3 months. There's no letting you pick and choose. Yes, you are going to meet with me once a week. Because if you're anything like I am when it comes to accountability, when I had anxiety and worry and overwhelm, if somebody didn't kind of help me and guide me and hold my hand, so to speak, I found myself more often than not falling off the bandwagon. I'd go back to the old habits, the old ways of thinking. But when I saw somebody every week, like I said, when I was doing the life recovery and things like that, it helped me stay on track. So this is why I built it this way. So again, each week you meet with me. So week 1, again, was the personal level. Week 2 is the emotional. I'm going to give you a guided meditation so you start learning how to tune into yourself, into your personal, authentic self. Like I said, we're going to go through the limiting beliefs. We're going to reframe them, create your affirmations. We're going to start reprogramming your mind. Week 3, and this is where we delve into that, is going to be the psychological. So this is where we go into meditation RX, if you will. So I'm going to give you a 21-day meditation, something that's super simple to commit to, but that is specifically geared towards you breaking your limiting beliefs and developing to exactly what your goal is. There is a meditation for everything. And I've got them all here, which is why it's easy to go ahead and once we figure out where you're at, to give you the one that's going to help start reprogramming you. Okay, we're going to just break through it all. We're going to go back to basics and start from scratch there. Week 4, and this is one of my personal favorites, and again, this is going to come back to your fear of failure, is boundaries. Because as someone with anxiety and this, again, fear of failure, I'm always worried if I don't do something right, then people are going to hate me, right? If I don't do this, then I'm failing them. If I don't take care of them, I'm failing them. If I don't do certain activities, kind of put myself on the back burner, then I'm failing them, okay? So week 4 is all about boundaries. You're going to learn how to say no without feeling guilty. You're going to learn how to really talk about scheduling fun, scheduling your self-care, and again, doing it in a way that you're not going to feel guilty, because this is what you need to start reprogramming. To know that you are successful, that you're allowed to take care of you, that you're not failing anybody, but you're going to be failing yourself if you don't do it, okay? Because honestly, when you don't do these things, it's like looking at yourself in the mirror and going, I am not a priority. I mean, can you honestly look in the mirror and tell yourself that you're not a priority, that everything around you is more important than you? This is your chance, and this is what I want. I want you to be the good kind of selfish. You need to take care of you. Otherwise, it's going to get out of control, and then you're going to live in that state of anxiety, fear of failure, worry, and overwhelm forever. And nobody wants that. If I was still the same person I was 3 years ago, I would have killed myself by now. And I don't even take that lightly because I tried, okay? I literally love where I'm at now because I learned how to do these things. So I highly, highly, highly recommend. Like I said, week 4 is amazing. Week 5 is the physical. So we're going to talk about how you're physically feeling, where your sleeping is, how those boundaries are working, because this is where this shift starts to happen by week 4 and week 5, and that's when things get a little dicey, because you might feel a little more drained, maybe you're not sleeping as well, certain things start to come up, because when you're reprogramming your body, you're fighting this system, okay? You're training your brain to believe something new so your body will follow, and when it's new for your body, it's very difficult. So this is why, again, the accountability, the weekly calls, the daily Voxer chats, you literally get to keep me in your back pocket. There is an app that you are allowed to message me all the time on whenever you have something coming up for 6 weeks, okay? And then week 6 is our wrap-up. That is the spiritual side. That is the self-reflection. That is the check-in. That is the working to, again, develop a personal accountability plan. So this way you stay successful with your program. You don't fall off the wagon. This is what's going to keep you working forward. And then the whole time you're in the 6 weeks, like I mentioned, you get the daily Voxer chat. So we get to talk just like this, but all day, all the time. Within reason, because obviously I do sleep depending on what side of the globe you're on. And then weekends, are a little bit limited because, yes, I have to take time for me and be a little selfish on that end. And then also while you're in the program for 6 weeks, you also have access to the Mindful Movement Tribe, okay? So you'll be able to take the weekly yoga classes and the meditation classes and get the journaling prompts. And again, it's going to help support you while you're in the one-on-one program with me. You'll even make new friends. Like I said, the women that are in our intimate community are amazing. They're going through the same challenges. They're having amazing wins. We're celebrating, and life is changing for the better, okay? And then, I'll give you a little bit of homework in between because we all need that. Again, that's the accountability. That's the planning. That's the tracking. That's the setting it up. And again, if you're someone like me that has anxiety and stress and worry, having a plan is super helpful. I always found structure to be great. Like when I knew I was going to yoga Tuesday and Thursday nights, it was perfect because I kept myself accountable. Okay. When I set myself up where my friend would text me every day at 5 a.m. to be like, hey, are you up? Are you going to the gym? That kept me on a routine. It kept me accountable. When I was, again, meal prepping, things like that, these are all things that are going to help keep you accountable. So that is how I based my program. I took all of my own experiences, I took all of my own practices, I took all of my own setups, and I worked them into this program that I know will benefit you. Because again, you're Pam 1.0 and you're ready for change. So we're going to get you to Pam 2.0. So that is it for that. Now, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, anything that came up tonight, anything that resonated with you, any help that you need, drop it in the comments, send me a DM. I am more than happy to go over that with you. We could set it all up. Any programs you're interested in, all the links are in my bio. If you click Pamela's Essentials /links, the link in the bio, you're going to see all the little tabs pop up. You'll see the Work With Me, the Vibrant, Carefree, and Fabulous Females, the tab to sign up for my free weekly newsletter, the guided meditations. Everything is there. Okay, Facebook world, I will drop it in the bottom for you. But everything is there. And again, if you have questions, let me know. But I hope you are able to take your fear of failure and let it go. Let it fly. Use the tips we talked about. I'm happy to give you support where I can. And then join me tomorrow night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time live. And we're going to move into day 2, which, if I am not mistaken, let me double check. I want to make sure I have day 2 correct. Maybe. I don't remember what I had for day 2, and now it's not loading. Crap. What was day 2? Oops, hang on, I'll tell you in a second. Nope, it's not loading. Okay, I'm sorry, I don't remember what day 2 is tomorrow. That's gonna bug me now. Oh, maybe, hang on. Nope. No, because control is day 5. I'll figure it out and I'll post it in the little synopsis area because I can't remember. And I didn't write it in this journal. Damn it. Sorry. But yeah, join me tomorrow night at 8:30. It'll be day 2 regardless. You'll have a good time, I promise. Because again, these things are super important. These are the 5 days of things you need to let go of. If you're jumping in, if you're catching this, like I said, catch the replay, watch it again if you need to. And again, let me know if you have any questions, anything coming up. And I will see you guys all tomorrow. Bye, guys. Mwah.